Welcome. Welcome to our annual Earth Sunday celebration at UUSM. Today, as we all sense the quickening of life and enjoy the explosion of springtime flowers, particularly here in California after all that rain, we celebrate our joy and our responsibility as part of the delicate and resilient web of all life on Mother Earth. Our Earth Day celebration and the compelling need to find ways to live in closer harmony with nature, each other, and all living systems is at the heart of our seventh principle as Unitarian Universalists. Church members have worked for months to plan today's Green Living Fair and Earth Sunday events. Each year, we celebrate Earth Day as a time to recommit to doing our part to address the major disruptions we have caused in the web of life through our heedless exploitation of the world to meet our human needs. After the past few years, when gathering in groups has been difficult, our Green Living group has struggled to recapture the sense of connection and shared purpose which animated our past events. We emerged from lockdown with a collection of gardening parties and gatherings outdoors to celebrate the beauty of nature and the joy of shared work. In our hunger to jump into our work, it's sometimes hard to take the time to light the chalice and share some inspiring words to center ourselves. So as your worship associate today, let me share some inspiring words, the ones I usually forget at my Green Living meetings, from UU leader Peter Morales. What does spirituality feel like to you? It's impossible to define and difficult to describe. For me, it feels like connection. Connection to myself, to others around me, to the earth, and all creation. Connection to myself feels like deep peace, awareness, calm, authenticity. Connection to others feels like compassion, community, acceptance, and enduring love. Spirituality is not an idea, it's an experience. When I experience connection, dividing lines disappear. Inner conflict gives way to integrity. The line that separates my individuality from others fades. We become one. I find connections with my deepest self in times of solitary practice and reflection. I find connection with others in community, often in worship. All the great spiritual traditions teach this. Today, the connection with creation, with the earth, and the cosmos may be the most difficult. We live in artificial, controlled environments that separate us from the natural world. More than humans in any other time, we live separated from the natural world, the world from which we emerged and that sustains our lives. We so very much need to experience our world. We need to let go of controlling our world and allow ourselves to become one with it. We find ourselves when we lose ourselves. May we connect, really connect. When we do, it changes everything. Come, let us worship together.
Good morning. It's been a long time since I've seen some of you. We gathered in this sacred space to celebrate the life of our beloved Helen Brown yesterday, and many of us were here, and I know many of us were here in spirit. Welcome to this morning's service, Our Living Earth, and we also want to wish a happy Easter to our Orthodox Christian friends who are celebrating Easter today as well. I'm the Reverend Jeremiah Lalshabaz Kalendae, and I serve this historic and beautiful congregation as its developmental minister. I'm joined this morning by our special green worship associate, Alison Kendall, who we haven't seen up on the pulpit in a while, so thank you so much for being here with us, as well as our beloved musicians, our music director, Sonder Choi, our choir section leaders, Chloe Vaught, Javon Haskin, Keon Haidari, and David Eric Peterson, and of course Ryan Humphrey on the piano, and our extraordinary church choir. We are blessed. A special thanks to all of those who pour out their spirit and creativity and service each week to bring us these dynamic services. We are all delighted to be joining you this Sunday. If this is your first time joining us, or if you are new to our congregation, we bid you a special welcome and hope you'll take the time to explore our new website and our online news magazine to learn more about our church. You may also speak with folks at the visitor table in the courtyard after the service. We light our flaming chalice with "Alive in All Creation" by the Reverend Sherry Woodbury. Spark of the Spirit, cupped in earth's embrace, light of love, alive in all creation. As we have kindled this flame, we kindle our connection to the sacred web of all life.
Good morning, everyone. So our music for the morning is entitled "I Will Be Earth," which is also the title of our concert this afternoon, our Earth Day concert at 1:30. I hope you can join us. This piece is written by a New England-based composer, Gwyneth Walker, and is a setting of text by Mae Swenson, an American poet. And Gwyneth Walker actually ran into Mae Swenson's poetry while reading the New York Times obituaries. And this particular poem likens human love to images or imagery from our earth.
I
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Community Church of Santa Monica. I'm Alison Kendall, your worship associate, otherwise known as the Green Chair. My email is greenchair@uusm.org. So when I retire, I expect to get one. We're delighted to have you all present with me. Wherever you are, here in the sanctuary, or on our online sanctuary from communities around Greater LA, the United States, or beyond, we're glad you're here. As we gather in this space, or in our virtual space, we recognize we're connected to one another through the winds that give air to all beings and through the waters that move deep within the earth and up in the sky. We acknowledge that the ground beneath our feet is and has always been the home of indigenous peoples, many of whom who have been forcibly removed to other lands. Today we celebrate our connection to Mother Earth and to all living creatures and plants and systems. We rededicate ourselves to living in harmony with these complex systems of interdependence and recognize our obligations to protect the opportunities of our youth and of this precious planet we call home. Please join us after the service at the Green Living Fair, where you can learn about healthy food, water-wise gardening, electric induction cooking, home energy upgrades, green ways to get around, and climate action. This year, we have an especially extensive array of information with many community partners who are also working to reduce climate change and its damages and promote sustainability in our homes, neighborhoods, and daily activities. Stroll among the display tables and learn about the many ways you can live in closer harmony with nature. We also have a delicious potluck lunch featuring vegan and vegetarian food to help convince you to decrease the amount of meat and dairy in your diet and explore options which are healthier for you and for our planet. And of course, at 1:30, our choir offers an Earth Day concert entitled I Will Be Earth. In a separate announcement, but very well timed, I want to announce that in an amazing alignment of the planets, remember just a few weeks ago when we had those planets lined up? UUSM's board was able to move swiftly in a very un-Unitarian-like manner and approve a proposal to install 7.5 kilowatts of DC solar panels on Forbes Hall. And they managed to do this fast enough to benefit from the current generous NEM2, for those of you who are energy junkies, you know that's a good deal, rate system from SoCal Edison, and the new rebates for nonprofits, which were just approved last year in the Inflation Reduction Act. So it's a double confluence of excellent, good karma. The system is expected to pay for itself in savings within 5 or 6 years, and it will help us replace our old gas heaters with renewable electric heat pump heating and cooling systems. Several very generous donors made the solar project possible despite the financial pressures that UUSM is still facing as we emerge from the COVID pandemic with fewer renters and added expenses. So we celebrate their generosity and the potential of this investment to generate renewable energy, save money, reduce fossil fuel use, and help us demonstrate wise stewardship of our beloved Mother Earth. I would like some of those generous donors to please stand and accept some very wholehearted thanks for their donation if they're willing to do so. Please. Some of them are a little shy. Thank you for coming forward. And I mean, honestly, we raised almost the entire amount within less than a week, which gave the board a lot of confidence in approving the rest of the expenditures. So it was really a lot of cooperation by everybody. I'd like to introduce Larry Weiner, one of our board members, to provide a testimonial on stewardship in our beloved church community. Larry.
And I had one last minute announcement that I also want to include, which is that we will be participating in the Interfaith March on April 30th, Sunday, which I understand we helped to create as a response to so much of the bigotry and racism and hate that was present in our world when the march started and is still present in the world today. So we hope that you will join us on April 30th for a 1-mile walk. It's not too difficult. And to contact James from our Peace and Social Justice and Faith in Action if you need more information or to sign up for carpools. Thank you.
All right, wake up. So I've decided I have 3 minutes here. I'm going to do an entire service in 3 minutes. I'm going to start out with joys and sorrows, then I'm going to move on to my sermon, and then I'm going to do announcements. So listen hard. So my joys and sorrows. My joy is looking out into this community and seeing so many people that I know and love. And my sorrow is there's still a few people in this congregation that I don't know. So my goal is to get to meet them and get to be much closer with them, and as we build our beloved community. That's my joys and sorrows. My sermon is, why do I love this place? This is a place where anybody can walk through the door, and no matter what they believe about the way the universe was put together, that they can, Laura? What? I'm so sorry. Okay, so. Did you know where it was? No, I didn't introduce you. It's my wife, Laura. She's up here supporting me. I'm a sidekick. Yeah. You know, I'm all into relationships. I better preserve this one. So, so anyway, we walk through the door, and everybody's beliefs about how the universe is put together are okay, and we can accept them. We have principles, which I also love. We have the principle of the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and I add, no matter whether they deserve it or not, because it's not about the other people. It's about me and who I'm going to be in the world, and so my job is to affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person. Also, I want to say something about the third principle about acceptance. So my version of it is acceptance of everyone, but accept yourself first, because if you don't accept yourself, it's kind of hard to accept anybody else. And then the fourth principle is the free and responsible search for truth and meaning. And for me, that gives me a lot of space to not know everything. And I think it's really important to be humble and to not know everything. It actually gives me a lot of space. I also want to say, I'm going to go over the 3 minutes. Thank you. And what I really love about this place is that I get to practice what it means to be human, and boy, do I need the practice. So, all right. So, and I'm also, here are my announcements. First announcement, we're having a courtyard chat at 11:45. I'm going to be leading that too. So whether you decided to come to it or not, come on out. We've got some bagels. And not that we're going to need any extra food today, but what I wanted to announce about that is that I'm going to be working with my angel, who's in the back. This is Audrey. Does everybody know Audrey? What, can you? Yeah. Audrey is my angel. And I'm blessed that I am Audrey's angel. And so we're going to be out there talking. We're going to talk about, if anybody wants to come out and talk about what they yearn for in this church, what works for them, what doesn't work for them. We're going to do mostly listening, and we're going to take a lot of notes. So because we want to make sure that this is a place where everybody gets what they need. And my second announcement on that is that if anybody hands me a pledge card today, I've got forms, I'm going to buy them lunch. And I've got the money to do it today. I have thousands of dollars, and I expect to have a lot of, I'm sorry for people who have already turned in their pledge forms, but I will buy lunch for anybody who gives me one today. And I have another announcement, and that announcement involves you. Oh, my God. Yeah. So what are you doing on July 26th of 2025? What? You don't know?
What am I doing? No.
No. So she doesn't know what she's doing. So on July...
Tell me anything about
No, this is a surprise. On July 26th of 2025, we're going to be back here to renew our vows just after our 30th anniversary.
Oh, okay.
She didn't know.
I didn't know. I mean, I knew it was the date.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that's what you were doing.
It's 4 days after our 30th anniversary, and you're all invited.
There we go, I guess.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Hard to top that. Please rise in body or spirit for the opening hymn, number 15 in our purple hymnal, and then remain standing for our covenant and hymn of praise. Is the doctrine of the church, the quest for truth is the sacrament, and service is the prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, thus to be covenant with each other. And amor excelsis magnum et excelencia, buscar la verdad et su sacramento, y el servicio ex la oración, vivir you have a donation for the West Side Food Bank, we ask that you bring it forward to place in our basket at this time. Any of you kids or older people, if you want to throw something in the basket. We've been partners in collecting food for the West Side Food Bank for many years. If you'd like to donate food, please bring items that they use in large quantities. Pasta sauce, in unbreakable packaging, please. Juice, granola bars, protein bars, and breakfast cereal to our collection basket each week. Our service in the world can be embodied right here each Sunday. All people, young people, and adults are encouraged to give. We will now receive this morning's offering for the West Side Food Bank. We also have a story for all you young people and for the older people. So I need some help with the story. Okay, so I know you're busy with your art, but look up and listen up, and when the time comes, I need your help. Okay, this story is called The Microbes and the Planets by Carolyn Fisher. Did you know that there are trillions of tiny creatures living inside your bodies? They're called, that's creepy, absolutely. It is creepy. A lot of nature is creepy. They're called microbiota, and they're so tiny that to them, you and your body are like a planet. To my microbiota, I am planet Alison, and you are planet Emerson, and what's your name? Zia, and you are planet Zia. And I think we have planet Quinn. We have many planets in this room. Microbes are so tiny that you can't see them, you can't hear them, and you can't feel them move. Fortunately, perhaps. One microbe all by itself can't do much. They live in your planet, body, and depend on you for their entire lives. But your planet body also depends on them to stay healthy. If the microbiota are out of balance, then you're more likely to get sick. Have any of you ever been sick? I think there are a few people who couldn't come today because they're sick, in fact. Have you ever had a fever? When this happens, it might be because the microbiota in your plant body got out of balance. Some microbiota protect you from bacteria that make you sick. Other microbiota help digest your food. In general, if you're healthy, you can thank all those trillions of tiny microbiota working together to keep things in balance, even if it's creepy. So our bodies are like a planet, but our planet, Earth, is also like a body. And people are like one kind of microbiota. I am microbe Alison, you are microbe Zia, you are microbe Emerson. We have another microbe over there. What's your name? Mariah. Many microbes in this planet. So together, most of the time our planet Earth is so big and we're so tiny compared to it that we don't even notice or remember how much we depend on our planet. For the air we breathe, for the food we eat, for the water we drink. But just like the microbiota in our bodies, our planet Earth also depends on us. Just like your body depends on your creepy crawly microbiota. To stay balanced and healthy, our planet Earth depends on people to stay balanced, or unbalanced as the case may be. You probably know that our planet Earth is not very healthy right now. This is because people have been out of balance. Sometimes this feels like a really big problem for one little microbe like me. Our planet Earth is so big, but together with lots of other people, I'm working to get our planet Earth back in balance. I do little things like biking or walking instead of driving. I do medium things like going to meetings and with government workers and talking to people about how important it is to put things back in balance and put solar panels on the church. And sometimes I get to be part of really big things. Our planet Earth is sick. And each of us are just tiny microbes, but working all together, we can push the balance of our planet Earth back toward healthy. Now I want the kids to come up here, okay? Just put down your pen for just a second because I really need your help on this one. Okay, we're gonna do something, us microbes. Okay, I want everybody in the church, led by the kids here, to work together to make an ocean wave so we can all feel less like teeny microbes and more like a big, important, powerful wave. Maybe a blue wave. Okay, so we're gonna make a big wave sound. So when I raise my arms, you're gonna raise your arms too, and we'll all say, whoa, like a crashing wave. Okay? And then the people near us will either jump up and raise their arms if they can, and say woo, and then we'll watch the wave travel out from here to the back of the church. Okay? We're gonna do it 3 times. Are you ready? All right, 3 waves. Ready, set, whoa! Okay, once more. Ready, set, whoa! Wow, that's fun. Ready, set, whoa! Thank you. We're powerful together.
Let us sing our song of blessing, and we invite our youth to go to their religious exploration classes, or you can stay here.
Let's breathe together in our time for centering and prayer and meditation. United in breath, we remember the common atmosphere we share and the rhythms of life we embody. Drawing from a common source and then releasing that breath as an offering, we perceive something of our interdependence. Our bodies expand and contract, and our persistent heartbeat reminds us that the pulse of life flows through each of us. Closing our eyes, let us come to a dynamic centeredness, alone and yet connected, individual and yet interdependent, still and yet moving. We know that at the foundation of all things are energetic vibrations, rhythms, which compose subatomic particles in a vast spaciousness of potential. May we feel in our bodies those fundamental rhythms reflected in breath and heartbeat, in the pulse of life that we know even in stillness and in silence. Let us dwell in our connection to the most basic elements of existence, our connection to our own bodies, our connection to all those gathered here, our connection to the expansive web of all existence. Let's breathe and dwell in awe and with conscious, mindful awareness. In this holy connectedness, please join me in the spirit of prayer and meditation. Our mindfulness prayer this morning is Bring Us Close to the Earth by the Reverend Lynn Cox. Spirit of life, ground of our being, root of unified mystery, growing into myriad branches of expression, bring us together now. Bring us close to the earth, ear to the whispering grass, quietly, attentively, walking with slow breaths, listening for the very stones to cry out with their rocky stories of tectonic plates meeting and parting, their mineral memories of Hadean days, molten rock flowing and joining, their ancient legends of stars born out of the collapse of other stars. Help us to remember. Help us to piece together our oneness with matter, our oneness that matters. With one more deep breath, may we rise, star-stuffed, walking and rolling across the surface of an impossible blue-green planet. May we join together to heal what is divided. May we find wholeness within, without, among, between. Eternal source, seed of the universe, help us to grow peace. May it be so. Amen, and blessed be. Let us hold silence for a few minutes together to meditate or offer whatever might be stirring within our hearts to the wide universe. older than our memories, older than the stories we tell, older still than our religions, and even the histories we know, is our precious planet home. Its beautiful depths and its magnificent heights, its oceans and flowing waterways, its tropical paradises and endless fields of wildflowers, its ornamentation with an inconceivable array of life, from the tiniest microbe to the enormous Antarctic blue whale, are the extraordinary cradle into which we have been born. Human civilization emerged on the face of our planet but a few thousand years ago. The Earth is 4.5 billion years old. In this incredibly short span of time, our species has existed. We've managed to pollute and plunder the oceans and rainforests, disrupt the balance of the web of life, and bring profound harm to innumerable species of beings who make their homes in the seas and the skies and the forests and the fields. We've gained dominion over the earth and subdued her, as the Hebrew scriptures commanded. In doing so, we've brought countless species to extinction, and our carelessness and dangerous ways of relating to the natural world now threaten humanity's continued existence. In the midst of all of this devastation, a new generation of voices have arisen at the intersection of ecology, feminism, and theology. And they're calling us to grasp the complexity of the forces that brought us to where we are today. And they're also articulating new eco-theological models to better orient ourselves to our place in this universe and to help us repair our relationship with the natural world. Our living earth has always been where I've sought spiritual refuge. The spirit of life itself is encountered by many of our tradition in the heavens, and not those of another world, but in the vast expanse of sky that is bespeckled with sun, moon, and stars, and filled with pelicans and bumblebees and hummingbirds. So many of us find paradise not beyond this world somewhere, but in the dirt beneath our feet, in the vast garden of our planet, which includes soaring mountain ranges, sandy beaches, colorful fields of poppies, vast expanses of quiet desert, and wind-swept prairies. The Universalist and Unitarian minister, the Reverend Thomas Starr King of California, preached in his 1863 sermon entitled Lessons from the Sierra Nevada, "I believe that if on every Sunday morning before going to church, we could be lifted to a mountain peak to see a horizon line of 600 miles enfolding the profuse splendor of light on such a varied expanse, or if we could look upon a square mile of flowers representing all of the species with which the creative spirit embroiders a zone, or if we could be made to realize the distance of the earth to the sun, the light of which travels every morning 12 million miles a minute to feed and bless us, and which the force of gravitation pervades without intermission to hold our globe calmly in its orbit and on its poise, if we could fairly perceive through our outward senses just one or two features of the constant order and glory of nature, our materialistic dullness would be broken. Surprise and joy would be awakened. And we should feel that we live amid the plan of infinite thought. And the devout spirit would be stimulated so potently that our hearts would naturally mount in praise and prayer. Our religious tradition is infused with a mysticism of the natural world. We claim direct experience of that transcending mystery and wonder affirmed in all cultures, which moves us to a renewal of the spirit and an openness to the forces which create and uphold life. And spiritual teachings of earth-centered traditions which instruct us to celebrate the sacred circle of life and also instruct us to live in harmony with the rhythms of nature. These are foundational sources of our liberal religious tradition. Now, whereas many religious expressions in both the West and the East degraded nature or sought to escape from it, our unique liberal religious expression found inspiration in the beauty and power and harmony of the natural world and the cosmos. We listened to the transcendentalists when they called us out from our colonial churches of Concord and into the wilderness. We listened to scientists when they summoned us to pause in wonder before the complexities and intricacies of life. We heard indigenous people when they warned that we had strayed from the sacred way, the sacred hoop, in our ignorance and our greed. We listened to women when they questioned the stories of meaning men had provided for so long, like telling us of their right to dominion over nature and her creatures. Elizabeth Johnson, the distinguished professor emerita of theology and author of many of the foundational texts of eco-feminist theology, provided humanity with a deep insight into the religious and theological origins of the ecological crisis. We sometimes have a tendency to oversimplify the causes of complex problems, like thinking, for example, the ecological crisis we are now facing is simply the result of carelessness towards nature and way too much pollution from the Industrial Revolution onward. Thankfully, the eco-feminist theological quest seeks to complexify our understanding so that we aren't reductionistic and we have instead a more complete understanding of the origins of the problems we're facing and what's truly required of our species to right these wrongs. She writes, "I am persuaded of the truth of ecofeminism's insight that analysis of the ecological crisis does not get to the heart of the matter until it sees the connection between the exploitation of the earth and the sexist definition and treatment of women. This is the genius of women's spirituality in our day, informed by feminist analysis. It sees the deficient pattern as a whole rather than in bits and pieces. Let us cut to a major taproot of the ecological crisis, namely the dominant form of Western rationality called hierarchical dualism." Now, hierarchical dualism is a philosophical term that describes realities that are defined in two fixed ways that are oppositional, and one of those realities is judged to be of greater value than the other. So it's both a dualism and a hierarchy. It's a lens through which we can perceive how a deficient pattern of conceiving of reality arose in the history of Western rationality. Now, I know this is where some of you start to fall asleep in a sermon, but I beg of you to stick with me. This is important stuff. Now, it's easy for us to think that to solve the ecological crisis, we just need more affordable electric vehicles or less single plastics or a dietary shift towards plant-based meals. And indeed, all of those things are helpful and we should encourage them. But the ecofeminist analysis concerns itself with connecting all of the dots to see the bigger picture, the dominant forces in history which got us to where we are today, and then to alter the deficient and fragmented ways that we've been taught to conceive of reality. Hierarchical dualism is the dominant conception of the cis-heteropatriarchy, white supremacy, ableist culture, capitalism, and the ecological crisis. This is important stuff. One of its earliest manifestations of this hierarchical dualism was in the separation of spirit from matter and minds from bodies. It elevated spirit and mind to the supreme states of purity and denigrated matter and bodies as corrupt. We therefore aspire towards heaven and neglect the earth and our world. We can find this duality played out through the history of Western rationality in culture, science, and religion. It also elevated men over women and identified men with purity of spirit and mind and women with the corruptions of matter and the body. Men were closer to the mind in the world of ideas, and women were closer to matter, relegated to the work of the body, like childbirth and domestic concerns. Spirit and mind were likewise connected with life, and matter and bodies with death. Now, intersectionality can identify how this deficient pattern was used to structure reality in a multitude of ways, but I'm only exploring feminism, ecology, and theology this morning. So, just that. So, in 20 minutes or less. Ecofeminist Shiro Elizabeth Johnson continues, coherent with the view of the body, the emerging Enlightenment philosophy of science quantified nature as a thing, rather than being the mysterious source and matrix of all life, an organism in its own right. Nature is then envisioned as a machine. It's made up of components that man's rational mind can identify, take apart, and put to work in new ways. Because it's mere matter, lifeless and dead, nature can be rightly probed, subjugated, and manipulated. Feminist analysis insists that the devastating ecological consequences of this vision cannot be fully addressed until we face it as a whole. We need to understand that an anti-body philosophy is profoundly misogynist. We need to realize that the natural environment is oppressed, manipulated, and abused in ways analogous to the patriarchal use of women, end quote. The movements for justice for women and for our planet are therefore deeply interwoven, and they intersect with many of the injustices perpetuated by hierarchical dualism. Elizabeth Johnson proposes that it's through mutuality and a model of kinship that we resacralize all bodies and that we restore balance and subvert these systems of oppression. Sally McFague, another ecofeminist foremother, who's also queer, proposed that there has to be a shift in humanity's theological worldviews, how we conceive of reality, to overcome the traumatic legacies of this deficient model of Western rationality. Whereas spirit, mind, and life were defined in opposition to matter, bodies, and death, it's further true that transcendence, the traditional dimension of spirit, was elevated over and against embodiment. This left the world and all of the major world religions with a deficiency, in that the divine was imagined primarily, again, by men, those industrious agents of mind and ideas. I know I'm being a little bit hard on you guys, but we're just going through history. To be a completely, so spirit was imagined to be a completely transcendent reality, disembodied, removed, unmoved, and detached from the natural world. Sally McFay proposed that perhaps what the fellows of Western rationalism missed was a theology of embodiment rather than a theology of transcendence. She asked the question, what if the whole history of religion, in every major tradition, got it wrong? What if the entire universe and its local expression as our solar system and the earth is in fact the body of God? So Sally McFay pondered, we are asked to contemplate the visible universe, God's body, as the place where the surpassing extraordinary character of divine presence is to be found. The universe in its age, size, complexity, diversity, history, and beauty is the locus of our imagination to exercise its power in regard to what divine transcendence might mean. It serves as a deep reflecting pool of divine magnificence and grandeur. To contemplate what we know of the universe, from the extraordinary ordinariness of a butterfly's wing to the ordinary extraordinariness of the Milky Way, is beyond all of our capacities of imagination. The longer we reflect on either of these phenomena, the more filled with wonder we become. The universe as God's body gives us a concrete way of meditating on divine transcendence, a meditation that knows no end, for we can never imagine such a transcendence to its finish or its limits. It will, the longer we contemplate its wonders, whether at the microscopic or the macroscopic levels, as well as the middle level of cows and pine cones and caterpillars, call forth more and more depths to the meaning of divine transcendence. To contemplate divine transcendence as radically and concretely embodied means, of course, that it is not one thing. Divine transcendence in this model would be in the differences, in the concrete embodiments that constitute the universe. So the early eco-feminist theologians invite us to consider the ways in which the struggles for liberation are interconnected, just as the worldviews and philosophies that generated systems of oppression are related. They further invite us to imagine the divine dwelling in all the bodies of existence, sun and moon, trees and rivers, animals and people, our planet home. Are we seated here on this sacred ground, on the body of God? Imagine what such an eco-feminist theology would have meant if it had been embraced for the last 2,000 years. And further, imagine what it could still mean for our understanding of our place in the universe and our relationship to Creator Spirit and our living earth, to the health and well-being of Mother Earth and all of her creatures. Amen and blessed be.
Our practice is to dedicate 50% of our non-pledge Sunday offering to support the life of our church, and the other 50% goes to organizations doing work in the world that advance our Unitarian Universalist principles. This month, half of our Sunday offering will go to Rainforest Action Network. Rainforest Action Network preserves forests, protects climate, and upholds human rights by challenging corporate power and systemic injustice through frontline partnerships and strategic campaigns. Rainforest Action Network works towards a world where rights and dignities of all communities are respected and where healthy forests, sustainable climate, and wild biodiversity are protected and celebrated. There are many ways to give. Some of them are behind me. Through our website at uusm.org, by clicking the Make a Donation button, or by scanning the QR code on your screen with your smartphone, or by texting 844-982-0209 on your smartphone with the amount followed by the code GCC PLG for your member pledge, or SLF for the Spirit Level Foundation grant, which is matching our funds to help pay for technical renovations to make the live stream possible. And you can also make out an old-fashioned check to the church for any of these fundraising goals. All that you give monetarily, and especially all that you give of yourselves to help build our community, is very much appreciated. Thank you for your generosity. I invite our ushers to come forward, and we will now give and receive this morning's offering. Thank you.
So our offertory anthem this morning is by local composer, and by local LA-based composer Jeffrey Bernstein. This is the 21st century 23rd Psalm. It uses the text of Psalm 23 as a basis for really describing and ruminating how much the earth is able to provide for us and take care of us. Please rise in body or in spirit for our closing hymn. This is 1068, Rising Green.
May you go in peace, and may you hold fast to that which is good, returning to no person evil for evil, but strengthening the faint of heart, supporting the weak, helping the afflicted, honoring the earth and all beings. May you go and be blessed, and may you be that blessing. Amen.